She was right, as usual. It was a deep midnight blue, which she said brought out my eyes, which were also blue. Silver threads were woven through the fabric and were the source of the itching, but weren't visible until light hit them in just the right way, so no matter which way I turned, I sparkled. It was a cap sleeve with a V neckline that showed more cleavage than I usually displayed. And since I usually displayed none, I hope Jackson appreciated the view because it was darn cold. Since I barely topped 5'2" on a good day, Mia said I needed a short hem, which was the only part of the dress not clinging to me like a second skin. Floaty and overlaid with a filmy blue fabric, the skirts stopped an inch above my knee and flared when I spun in a circle, which I'd done too many times to be appropriate for my age. I was 24, not 6. So the bottom line was that the woman looking back at me in the mirror when Mia was, finally, through with my makeup, looked nothing like the China Mack, that's me, that I saw every day, which I suppose was the point. It was a holiday, after all, even if it was just a Hallmark one. Not for the first time did I wish I could handle wearing contacts instead of glasses, just to show off Mia's mad makeup skills. I slipped on the silver ballet flats Mia had made me buy to go with the dress. I'd put my foot down at the mention of heels, literally, and eyed the silver clutch purse she was holding. "It's not big enough to carry anything," I complained. I never used a purse. A backpack was much more practical and easier. "All you need is your phone." She put it in the purse. "Your keys?" Those went in too. "Lip gloss and powder." She handed the clutch to me. "All set." "When do I put on the makeup?" I didn't usually wear the stuff, having never quite gotten the hang of smoky eyes and pouty lips. She rolled her eyes. "I've told you. After dinner, in the bathroom. Don't ever touch up makeup at the table, and you can reapply the lip gloss more than once. Hint, hint." For as much as it cost, I'd better. The little tube had been almost $40. "Jackson is going to flip when he sees you," she said with more than a little satisfaction, looking me up and down. "I am so good." I laughed outright. "And modest, too," I teased, but she just shrugged. "You look stunning. Let's take a selfie." Thus began about 10 minutes of her posing us and posting on various social media platforms, at one point turning us both into puppy dogs via Snapchat. Mia's long blonde hair and Barbie-perfect face, even without makeup, were a stark contrast to me, and usually I felt dumpy next to her statuesque beauty. But not tonight. Tonight, I felt pretty. I kept glancing at the clock. Jackson was never late, and I was anxious to see him. He'd been out of town for a couple of weeks, and though we'd FaceTimed every day, I'd missed him. Missed his arms around me, his warm kisses, and his smile that was just for me when we were alone together. It was straight up 7 o'clock when the doorbell rang. My stomach flipped over in anticipation, and I was across the living room and foyer of my duplex in 3 seconds flat, my cheeks hurting from the huge grin I couldn't help. I threw open the door and stopped breathing. Jackson Cooper was 6 feet of pure male perfection, with thick, wavy hair the warm shade of chestnut, and eyes the golden brown reminiscent of Edward's vegetarian diet in Twilight, without the special effects, of course. His shoulders were wide, his waist narrow, and his body lean, lithe muscle. Said body was currently wrapped in an immaculate tuxedo that I knew had to be designer and tailored. Jackson wasn't shy about liking nice things, and since he could afford to buy them, he did. "Wow," I breathed. If I'd been a cartoon character, my eyes would have morphed into red hearts. He didn't say anything at first, and his eyes widened. He looked me down, then up, then made the journey all over again. Slower. When his eyes met mine, there was a gleam in them that made my tummy flip again. Shy under his silent scrutiny, I went for my nervous tick of reaching up to tighten my non-existent ponytail. "Don't touch it!" Mia called out sharply, making me jump. I'd forgotten.